Okay, we'll just carry on. Has anyone got any questions specifically they'd like to ask at the moment? They think of anything like, oh. So Catherine, you were talking about the kettle, filling it up with the water and things. So you're looking for tips that will help you in the house. Catherine?
Lisa's answering. She said, we've got a website where there's video clips and tips and bits of advice. So if you are interested in finding out more, do have a look at the RAD website. There's BSL accessible videos on there as well. You'll see me and Kim on there, both giving energy saving tips. Talks also about how to understand your bill and how many units of energy you're using each month or each quarter. And also Kim's saying what is important is to maybe look at how much your bills are costing and think about changing suppliers. Lots of people are quite loath to change suppliers, but actually we can help you do that. And there are lots of cheaper deals available out there, and we can use BSL. We've got access to BSL interpreters as well, so we can make phone calls, and you can question your current supplier about how much they are charging. So it's quite easy to change with our help.
I think sometimes you look at your bill and you think, what does it mean? I have to pick it apart. Ignore it. It's easier to ignore it. All feel the same.
Lisa is saying we've got a few clients now that really were struggling to understand the price of the gas and electric. And actually, when we've looked at the bill with them, they thought it was a horrendous amount of money, but actually it's understanding the breakdown inside the bill because they are quite complex. And clients sometimes don't really understand about usage, how much they use water, gas, electricity, what period it's covering, is it a monthly bill or a quarterly bill? And it's just giving people that reassurance and understanding of what the bill covers and for what period of time. So that's part of our role as well, just to help the clients understand how the bills are made. And at the moment, if you think about COVID-19 and the coronavirus, people are spending a lot more money on certain aspects of their utility bills because they're at home all the time, whereas normally they might be out at work or certainly out and about. So also people's income has been wildly affected during corona pandemic. So their income and outcome might be skewed. So that's also something that we can give advice on, what sort of government funding or grants are available to cover these times of hardship. So we can give advice for that. Kim's agreeing.
Anyone have any questions that they can think of at the moment they want to ask? Zoe.
Zoe is asking a question. If you are looking at changing the supplier, for example, I'm trying to find a cheaper one myself, but I'm quite confused about how to do the research and how do I change companies? Do I just quit from one and start another? Is it something you can help me with? Lisa's saying yes, Kim and I can certainly help you do that. The first thing to do would be to make some comparisons between what you're currently paying and what other people might charge. Some people are offering special deals at the moment where you might think about a package where broadband is included as well. So sometimes it's cheaper if you set up a different sort of payment plan. So Zoe, by all means, you must book an appointment with us with an agreed time and date. We've got a website that's useful as well. So you can look at costs and guides and names of companies on there. So yeah, we can point you in the right direction to that website, and you can have an appointment with us, and we'll help you do that, Zoe. No problem. So if you are happy with something that you see and you want to cancel your current supplier, it might be useful to know if that's going to be a free option or whether there would be a chargeable fee or not. So also, it's worth you having a look at your contract, Zoe. You might have a written contract which will give you some more details in there, and we'll help you look at that because they can be a bit daunting. Kim's saying sometimes there is an exit fee for these contracts, maybe £30 exit fee, for example. Some are a bit more flexible. So it is worth making those comparisons, Zoe, because even if you pay an exit fee, if your newer supplier is much cheaper, you'll still be saving money in the long run. And we'll help you do that justification. We'll help you do the maths and the finances. So don't worry. We don't have any particular loyalty to a company, so it's not biased. And Zoe's saying, I know that there are many companies that are well known, like British Gas or Npower, but are there lots of other different companies available as well that I might not know? I mean, they look cheap, but I'm a bit suspicious because I don't actually recognize the name. I'm worried about scams at the moment and all the current fraud. So how can you make sure that you're being careful and safe, Kim and Lisa? Lisa said, yeah, that is definitely a very current problem at the moment. And the fact that everything now has moved online, you don't really go to a shop or the post office anymore. So to give you some comfort, Kim and I have been to some training courses with the energy companies. So we've gathered a lot of knowledge about who we can trust and who is well known. And also, we can do some research for you and make sure that the companies are verified and that they're genuine. If you see something that's amazingly cheap and a good deal, but you're not sure, please tell us, book an appointment, and we will do some of that research for you. It's not a problem. We'll give the information that matches exactly what you need. So we've got the knowledge. You don't really need to know too much yourself. And you don't have to go with a well-known company, like you say, E.ON or British Gas or Npower. There are others as well, but we can still do some of that research work for you. So don't worry, we've got the expertise to help you with that. And Kim's also saying some of the small companies actually offer quite good deals, so not to worry if they're not such a massive company. At the moment, green and environmentally friendly companies seem to be quite competitive because not many people know about them, so they're trying to win new customers with good deals. So it might be worth us also using other companies as well. And also a lot of companies now are becoming a bit more deaf friendly. So they might use a VRS platform like Sign Video or Sign Live, for example. And we also know now through our experience which companies are better with customer service and which will allow a third party, a deaf person, to make that phone call with the support of an interpreter. So we've also got access to different public reports like Ofgem and these regulatory bodies that actually will give us some comfort about which companies to trust and which are genuine and which aren't. So it can be really difficult for you to know that. So use us, we're here.
Thank you. That's absolutely brilliant. Really good information. I think sometimes we find we have a deaf space drop-in service where people can come and they've looked at the comparison like online sites, and it's just there's just information is just too much. It's there. It's confusing. It's just in depth, and the wording and the jargon and the details, and you think, oh, so you just leave it and carry on. I think that is to break that down, to get through that kind of jargon and everything is fantastic. That's great to know that we can contact directly to you and you can support those things with the knowledge, you know, of the companies that are out there. Because you do see, I mean, I have regular emails from one company saying, oh, it's time to change, switch now. Oh, I'm with Bulb and I'm happy at the moment, but I know I can get cheaper, but I prefer like the greener, the more kind of environmentally friendly company that I'd like to know what they're doing. I think that's important as well, to understand what's behind the company.
Yeah, Lisa and Kim are saying definitely.
Debbie?
Debbie's asking a question. It might be a little bit a different question, but at the moment, of course, because it's hot, we haven't got the heating on. But when we do use the heating, I have been talking to other people about how often you have your heating on during the day, about whether it comes on or off, or whether there's some benefit in changing these settings that you use, and whether you keep them, maybe that if you leave the heating on for a longer period of time and the house stays warm, and you can perhaps use the thermostat on the wall to control the temperature rather than on off. I just wonder if that's a cost-saving exercise, particularly in the winter time, linked to heating. So that's a question that I'm always thinking about. Which way do you think is cheaper? And Lisa's answering this, and she said it's quite a confusing situation to try and understand which way is best, to keep the heating on low all day ticking over, or whether to set it to come on at certain times. Sometimes it will depend on where you live. If you live in a city centre, for example, you might have the enjoyment of a little bit more warmth due to many more buildings being around you. So that can affect this decision. And you're absolutely right, Deb, to say if you put the heating on all day and left it on, but use the thermostat as a temperature control method, it's actually more efficient than having your timer on, off, and your house going cold. Because if you think about your boiler, each time you put your water and your heater on, your boiler has to work really hard to come from a point of warm or cold water to make it hot. So actually, I think we've got some evidence that keeping the heating on for a longer amount of time but having the temperature slightly lower is more beneficial in terms of cost saving. So again, sometimes it comes back to understanding how your meter works and understanding how many units you use, and understanding the breakdown of the bill. Maybe some units are charged at a different amount of money depending on the time of day or night. So yeah, it's a good idea to understand the use of your thermostat on the wall. It's a good question, Debbie. Debbie said thank you. And Kim's saying, yeah, it's about finding some energy saving tips as well, and not heating up too much water if you don't need it. And Lisa's saying, if any of you think of a question after today's coffee afternoon, please feel free to book an appointment with us. Just send us an email and we'll agree a date and time and we'll look at your personal situation in more detail. Debbie said thank you.
Anyone else thinking of anything they want to ask? Debbie again.
Debbie's got another question. And this one's talking about fuel. Was it fuel or petrol?
Over to you, Debbie. It's fine. You carry on. Yeah.
Just checking which Debbie's, which Debbie, no, it's me. Debbie Arnold is asking a question. So I'm talking about petrol. Is it petrol? And I thought maybe it might be cheaper to invest in one of those 1-cup heaters. So my mistake. Talking about a kettle, Debbie's talking about using a whole kettle full of water, and she's seen these 1-cup hot water makers where you just put your cup underneath, push the button, and you get 1 cup of hot water for making a coffee or a tea. So just wondering if that's a good idea or not, these new 1-cup things. So they look nice. Yeah. And so he's saying, do you think it's cheaper to make 1 cup at a time, or is 1 cup enough? Quite often you want to make more than 1 cup. Debbie said the size seems okay. Seems to be fine. Just push the button and go. So he said, depends what colour it is, if you can see the water boiling or not. I think you could perhaps have like a nice lilac colour. Everybody's laughing.
Catherine.
Question from Catherine. With the electric and gas, if you pay by a direct...
I could talk if I want to.
Yes, go ahead, Catherine.
When you have electric and gas and you pay direct payment, so say for example, I pay... Is anyone signing because I'm talking?
I'll sign for you, Catherine. Go ahead.
Sorry, it's easy for me to talk. Okay,
yeah, no problem.
Yeah. When you have a direct payment, say for example, you pay £125 for electric and then gas £90, but wherever you use your electric could be over, and then when it comes to the bill, your direct payment don't really cover, because every month it can build up in debt. So sometimes I have to look. I'm trying to find the cheaper supplier to change, because I think this is, I have changed because I always feel, or you have to pay more your direct payment and end up paying more. It depends what you've got in your household. Like for example, I've got a hot tub. It depends the size of the house. Thank you.
Lisa's saying it can be complicated with direct payments, Catherine, you're right. The important thing to remember is that if you are using your direct payments yourself, the company should actually be doing a calculation for you. And that's why it's quite useful to have one of these smart meter readers in the home that would give you an instant reading as to what you're using as you go along. So let's say 1 month you realise that the usage has been quite low, the company should automatically readjust that bill for you, or that payment for you, I'm sorry, the following month, because they should be monitoring your usage really if you're on these direct payments. So you might well see the bills being different every month, and that's another thing that actually confuses a lot of people. But really, the company should know, Catherine. They should be monitoring that with you, particularly if you've got a smart meter in the home or some means of measuring that as you go along. So different companies have different ways of working it out, but they should all be helping you monitor that. So yeah, you can always give more regular meter readings than you need to, and that also helps keep you on track with your budget and your plan. Catherine said, great, thank you.
Sorry, Kim, were you going to say, were you going to add something?
Yes, also in the winter time as well, Kim's saying, don't forget your payments, let's say for their example, £60. That's covering the expected extra costs. So don't forget, if you pay £60 every month, it doesn't mean every month your costs will be £60. It means in the winter, we all know that your costs will be higher. People use more hot water and the heating, and you might cook more hot food. So don't forget that you will need to be quite flexible in your approach for your monthly payment as well. Things do go up and down. You can't get it exactly right.
I've got 2 questions linked to smart.
Can you sign and speak, Helen?
I will, and you can have a break, Debbie, okay? So it's linked to smart meters. The first one, do all companies, will they install that smart meter for free, or do you have to pay? Should you be a little bit sort of wary if they ask you to pay, because possibly it should be free? That's the first one. The second, when you use that smart meter, is it showing you the kind of the usage, what's happening now? It's not telling you the price, it's just making you aware of things that are on, and you think, oh, it's quite high, I need to switch off. Is that the point of the smart meter, or is it giving you specific information? I don't have one, and I thought, I've been thinking about it. Are they monitoring me? You know, like looking at me a bit wary. But so I'm just wondering a little bit more about smart metering, whether it's a good thing or free.
Lisa's answering. Kim, do you want to answer, or me? Kim said, I'll answer. Smart meters are normally free, and this is part of the new government smart energy initiative. They're really trying to roll out these smart meters for everybody, and I actually think they are a good idea. I've been impressed with them so far. I also don't have one, Kim's saying, and I've been a bit like you, Helen, thinking about I should get one or not, but I am going to get one. I'm not fully au fait with exactly how they work and what they show. Lisa, would you like to add? Lisa said, yeah, I know a little bit more, only because in my old job, I had lots of dealings with different suppliers and smart meters. So I think, as Kim said, they are part of the government. The government want us to have them, and they will be rolled out within the UK. And at some point, everybody will have one. It will be the way forward. The meter reading is automatically sent to the company for your gas and your electricity. Excuse me. So there's no more going out to the spider cupboard to read that horrible meter. It's automatically sent. It's also accurate, so you don't have to, is that a 6 or an 8 or a 0? The actual numbers are sent off to the company. So very useful, really, particularly for deaf people, because on the screen, it's showing you different displays, and it will show you a cost. So there's actually a cost on the display, so that you, for example, when you put a kettle on, if you can look at the meter while it's boiling, you will see it go up enormously. So then you know that actually boiling a kettle of water is really expensive for a short amount of time, but the meter will shoot up. If somebody's in the shower for a long, long time, having a really hot shower for ages and ages, you'll see the meter go up. So actually, it might say, at the moment, your electricity is costing you 40.3 pence per hour or minute, whatever the rate will be, but it will show you that. So it's quite useful for you to see in the home, the different appliances will cost more money. TV, for example, when you are ready to turn the TV off and you want to go to bed, most people will just put the TV into standby. So they'll hit what they think is the off button on the remote control, but actually they don't really know that there's power still being fed to the TV. And that's all through the night, all through the next day maybe, if you don't turn that TV on. So for deaf people particularly, you've got a visual aid there, the smart meter, so you can walk around the house and play with it yourself, turning different things on and off, and go back to the meter and see what's costing you some money. So don't forget also that the suppliers don't just give you electricity and gas anymore. Quite often one supplier will be able to give you broadband, Wi-Fi, television, telephone, Sky, water, gas and electricity. So and again, if any of you have any questions about whether I should have a smart meter and would that give me any discounts on those other elements, please contact me or Kim. We'll give the company a ring, or we'll look on their website, or we may know already what sort of tariffs would be open to you if you if you get a smart meter. You don't buy them, they're normally given free. So it's quite complex because every company is offering different things. So let us do the work for you.
Brilliant. Thank you. I just asked the group, does anyone have a smart meter installed at home? Nobody? Ali has. Catherine,
No,
you don't. Ali.
But I've got a question.
Yeah, hang on a second, Catherine. Hold your question. Ali has. Debbie, the interpreter, has a smart meter. Brilliant.
The
Ali,
kettle is terrifying.
Oh.
When you put the kettle on, the meter goes.
So is it better for one cup or the full kettle?
Well, my partner likes to fill the kettle up, so it's always full.
Oh,
but
right.
I am now aware of how much that's costing.
Ali, what were you going to say about smart metering? Anything to add? Ali, can you sign and talk at the same time to give Debbie a break, please? You've lost your voice. Are you on mute?
Yeah, I've had everyone on mute because I've just been watching all of the signing, trying to switch off the ears. And so I have a smart meter for electricity because my husband's car is electric. So we have the smart meter because we're with Octopus. I don't know what the sign is. Octopus, and they have the tariff that's smart. You use to the car, you plug it in 1 to 4 in the morning. So you need the smart meter to check when, but it doesn't always work.
Thank you. I know Catherine had a question. Zoe has a question. Zoe, you want to go first?
Zoe's saying, I don't have a smart meter, but that's one thing that I've also been thinking about, like Helene. I'm not sure whether I should have one. I think I'm with British Gas for dual fuel, electricity and gas. and I know that the costs go up and down. In the summer, just trying to think which way's cheaper, but I think the winter's more expensive for me. And I'm thinking about my particular situation. My son has autism, and sometimes he is at home and sometimes he's not. So my costs go up and down, and my bill does seem a bit high, and I'm not sure really how I can make it cheaper or save money. So I don't know whether I should turn every plug off in the house or not, really. Is that something I should do? Go around like mad, turning all the power off at the walls? Or Lisa's saying, I think nobody expects you to turn every single thing off in the house. And I know it can be difficult with children as well. So it's not something particularly to be stressed or worried about. There are some things that it's useful if you turn them off if you're not going to use them for some time. Other things where you might use it every day, leave them on. It's common sense, really, and don't become stressed about it. So let me give you an example, trying to think of something like, I've got one plug for something that I don't use that often, so I might just plug it in when I need it. So it's about knowing your lifestyle, really. If it's something you rarely use, take the plug out the wall. If it's only once a month, it's quite easy to plug it back in again. So also something to think about is when things are plugged in, there is something called white noise, which some deaf people might not hear, but it is kind of a buzzing noise always in the background when things are plugged in. So what's important, I think, is to look at the tariffs that the different companies and suppliers are offering, because they'll talk to you about how much energy maybe the average house would use through the summer and through the winter. They will know the differences, and they can help you, and we at RAD can help you make the comparisons as to how much money you can save. And at the moment, the economy, people are struggling. Their bills are going up, their food prices are going up, and actually their wages or income is going down. So lots and lots of people are struggling financially at the moment. So it's a really good idea now to talk to the suppliers, threaten to change, tell them you're going to leave. You never know, you might get a good deal with them. They might give you a smart meter, and they might talk to you about different options of payment as well. If you're struggling, if you're behind with bills, it's always best to talk directly to the company. Zoe said, I'm sorry to ask one more question, but I've told you that I've been with British Gas for a while. I have had a little look about changing suppliers, but I've always been a bit nervous about doing that, because I think there was a grant available for £100 or so. It was to cover a period of time to help people that were struggling, and I'm aware of that grant, and maybe I'm thinking I'd like to change in September, but I've already used up this money that I've got from the government. Or would I get it again, or will it affect me changing suppliers? Or Kim said you can switch suppliers, and actually it's worth me saying that not all suppliers will offer that discount. Some do, some don't. Some link their discount to loyalty and how long you've been with them. So I think you're right to be a little bit worried about whether all companies offer these discounts, these winter payments. So talk to us, because it means that we can research and talk to the different suppliers and see whether that payment will be affected, and also look at the best deal as well. And Zoe said, okay, thank you for that.
Perfect, brilliant. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Catherine, did you have one more question?
I was going to ask my husband now about the smart meter. And actually, at the time that we were looking at, my husband was working for the electricity company as well. Oh no, he'd heard a rumour that there had been a fire. There were fires through the smart meters, but I think that rumour's probably gone away. So if it saves money, it's something we'll be looking at. Lisa's saying, I think there was a problem in one specific area, so it was just in very, very smaller, yeah, I think Lisa's talking about, linked to what Zoe was saying about universal credit, that now and there are more and more companies that are linking up with the DWP to offer the government assistance tied in with the smart meters. And actually now it is becoming a little bit more joined up with saving money and being aware of what benefits some people are on. And the more people understand about their bills, then the better it will be for everybody, really. So please contact us at any time. We'll help you with that. And Zoe's saying, I've asked about the discount card, and Lisa's saying the government will know about that, those resources, and they'll know about the savings card and the advantages there are to different people, whether it's going to help you save money or whether it's better for you to have a smart meter or not. So there's lots of pros and cons about different suppliers. Okay, thank you, Zoe said. And Kim said also, think about other things in the house that use electricity that you might not think of. Fridges, for example. If you think now when it's hot, fridges are using an awful lot of electricity, fridges and freezers. And some fridges are cheaper to run. So newer appliances might have a big difference on your bill. You'll be surprised. Old things can be very expensive to run. So, but as Lisa said, don't get too stressed about keeping things plugged in or not plugged in. We'll help you with that.
Brilliant. Thank you. I think I'm not sure if there's any more questions. I think everyone's like, wow, lots and lots of information and some fantastic information and tips. It's brilliant. And just knowing that, you know, we can like directly contact you guys for the support. And now we know as Access Bedford who to signpost to, because really we have our drop-in service and we like to support people, but knowing if there's a group that have that extra knowledge and you guys have that knowledge, you know, it means that we don't have to go out and research. We can just signpost directly to you. So that's fantastic. So, you know, we'll going forward, I think that's just going to be one of the things. We'll maybe set up a link on our website and some information just to make sure that people know. And Catherine can kind of like spread the information to our Young at Heart group. They're the ones that would probably be the hard group to support in terms of, you know, communication and technology, where we at the moment we can't meet face to face, so we're kind of doing it remotely. And with that group, it's kind of it's a WhatsApp chat. Some of our group we're on Zoom, like this one, which is fantastic because we have that regular kind of contact and we can talk and discuss it. And I think we'll be talking about this a little bit more together ideas and thinking about things, but it's that young at heart group, the over 55. They're the ones that we need to kind of share that information, and if we can make it easy for them to access the information, that's brilliant. So, and yeah, thank you. I'm aware of time, and I mean, Debbie's been interpreting fantastically for the last 50 minutes, and that's a hard thing to do. So thank you, Debbie. That's brilliant.
You are very welcome. I'm working with Kim today anyway, aren't we, Kim?
I'm going to stop the recording because I think now we're just sort of chatting. Let me just